Hello guys. So, recently I have been thinking that personally I love mapping and I will make some videos on that. So, I will be starting a WICSO series. Don't know if my viewers know what that means, but WICSO is an abbreviation for West Civilization Started Over. Thanks to Addis Pro, go check him out for giving me this idea. I have watched him ever since I got into geography and history. Well, let's begin. So, all things, well, we will have civilization start in what we would call the Nile region. And I'm not gonna have them start out anything easy, but they end up finding the well, the first areas explored would be what we consider to be like the Nile Delta regions. And up over here along this coast and down the river as our first civilization forms. The red team. Sorry, I was testing something. Now they will form here on the top of the Nile and slowly begin to spread outwards. Now, for many years, they would stay here. However, as cities would begin to form, as we, let me find a good size. Maybe 5? No. So they begin with this form. And the capital will be at the very mouth of the Nile River. Now, they can't explore very far into the sea because, it's kind of the sea and it's still pretty ancient times, but they can go inland. And that's exactly what they do as population begins to grow massive. They would explore along this coast, finding some lush areas, and more lush than parts of what they found, as, say, the desert here, and they find another body of water, what we call the Red Sea. Also, yes, sorry if it's screwed up. Like I said, this is my first interacting video, so things will get better in the future. And they continue exploring here, mainly trying to stick to the coast, because the coasts are the only real spots that they can really inhabit. I mean, sharks usually inhabit here, but as they continue down here, they also find this sea, you explore around it, and here explore around it. They still have not figured out that this comes to a point yet that some people are like doing conspiracy stuff. Meanwhile, they also send exploration groups down here to follow like the river area. And after a while of exploring, they will again come to conquering. They will really just slither down when Nihilus. I don't know exactly where it is, so I'm just kind of assuming. I should probably put that on here. They move up here on the coast, expand down to this body of water, and they come over here like this, explore along this coast and up this river, as about as they can, and snake along this coast. Along with this expansion, they also make a couple new cities. You got to real quick. Which of being here, here. Okay, sorry. Here here, here, and here. However, the next king believes that as there were lush areas there may be lush areas here, and begins devoting the empire's attention to exploring over this direction. However, as has one person has ideas, other people have different. Many people, especially explorers who found this area, believe they should keep going this way, because they believe there will be more arable land this direction. And so, as the king even ousts one of them from advisorship, they decide, we are going off on our hunt. The king tries to stop them, but can't handle that big of a mob. So many leave that this area becomes what we call uninhabited. I'm still putting this, sorry, I'm still trying to figure out how to color stuff back over. As of here, loses any semblance of population. And so the group moves north as they figure lush continues getting better this direction. And it sort of does. They had to get pretty much on the coast to avoid the deserts, but are able to continue north and end up finding Antioch, what we call it Antioch or Sehan, or even Syria. And here, where we see our second nation, the blue team, they form mostly on this side of the Sehan River, although other people do on the other side. And their goal is to go this direction and this direction. They send explorers over here, and they do find that it is pretty lush compared to what they found on there. However, it starts to get pretty mountainous, and exploration becomes difficult. They continue up the Sehan River, but same issue, mountains. And third, they go this direction and find it to be pretty dry as far as they've gotten. So the blue nation decides to expand with what they have as they conquer most of it. Hold on, let me just a little bit. Most of the Sehan River Valley. Down along this coast. Being in this direction. And further down into modern day Lebanon. They will also, of course, get a couple cities. Being here. What? Hold up. Okay, here, and here. With the capital, of course, being around where they formed. In between these two was a group who wanted to go straight in, but nobody did it. However, as they send some explorers in and do find it's desert, they believe that returning to their old people will not end well for them, and so form a nation where they stayed. The green team, the lime green team. They will. What? Oh, no. Hold on a second. These guys will take for this. Down to the red team border in this direction and take this territory right here, like North Israel. They will also try to expand in this direction, but the red team will stop them in their tracks, not very much liking them, which is to be expected. Continuing with the southward movement, the red team will explore this and find out, yes, it is one big peninsula. And so, being the conquerors that they are, they try to conquer it. And they do pretty much see in doing that. Now, there won't be very much population here as of right now, but they have conquered it and placed it as a red team on the map. So, success. This is a pretty big issue for the green team, who also can't go pretty far north on the coast, as the blue team is right there and is also trying to expand. Back up here with the green team, they begin to test going on the seas. I keep putting on the wrong layer. And begin to explore this area and find a small bit of land. As they send more and more ships, they find the island of what we call Cyprus. They send ships over there. However, they are unable to form a colony to keep getting supplies from there. So after a while, decide they will form their own independent state across here on the island. Cyprus forms. They will go across their island. Critics will find it's not large, but it is still suitable for a nation. And so they colonized it. This pretty understandably angers the blue team quite a lot, whom try to attack them, but the ships are jumped by the currents as trying to cross the ocean and then crashing back near the city. So as of right now, Cyprus is safe. Also, I just realized I forgot to give Israel cities. Most of theirs are going to be situated along the coast, however, there will be like in the Jordan River. I put those on capital cities. Give me a sec. That's annoying. Okay. And then the capital is placed here. Well, I'm gonna fix the words, but okay. With this, the Cyprus nation becomes mostly focused on seafaring, considering they're kind of in the middle of the ocean, and begin to explore much of the of what oh sorry, I cannot talk today. I have a baseball game in a little bit, and um they are exploring the seas of the Eastern Mediterranean. Meanwhile, the blue team decides to continue up along this coast. They find it curves down here, and eventually begins to open up into some nicer climates than most anything's been seen before. After some small ship faring, they also seen that there's also these islands off of the coast. However, they cannot expand over there yet because it is so far away. So they begin to explore inland and expand towards that direction. They take over this territory. What? Took over this territory. March along the coast, seizing this peninsula. However, they are beaten to taking roads as ow, as the Cypresians use many resources to get there first. In response, the blue team is forced to continue north along the coast. However, getting this far is very dangerous for a nation, and this is very much shown in the first revolt/war, wherein the Cyan team rises up. Initially, the blue team has decent success, pushing them back here from here. But then the team comes back with a large army made up of mostly civilians who did not like blue rule and instantly retaliate. After pushing them back, the border ends up settling about there. You fix this, I don't know why it tweaks out. And so, the Cyan Nation is formed here. They are largely underpopulated for what they have, with less cities than what is this called? I genuinely forget. What do they call it? Oh, Cyprus. Darn it. Oh, okay. Well, Cyprus has 3 cities. They only have one here and one here, which is their capital. This Cyan team is heavily devoted into going this direction. And also hating the blue team are fairly friendly with Cyprus, whom they form a sort of friendship with, not an alliance, because it's too early on for that to work. But explore many of these islands here, and throughout this, learning about what we in our life call Europe. And like I said, the Cyan team becomes heavily invested in exploring this region as they seize this and march north. However, limited by their low population, they are forced to stop. The blue team, angry, go this direction and north. They still have not found Mesopotamia yet, but as explorers go north and the ground becomes flatter, they reach the Black Sea, which the blue team instantly start expanding towards. Well, I think as the first video of our series, it's going pretty well. I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.